have the pleasure of being joined today by Justin Scott, aka Big K.R.I.T. We are here at the Congressional Black Caucus's annual legislative conference, and we just left a panel hosted by Maxine Waters called Young, Gifted, and Black. And this is Big K.R.I.T's first CBC. So tell me, how do you feel so far? What has your experience been? It's
been amazing. It's inspirational for me to also get so much knowledge and information that I was unaware of. It's indescribable. You have to come and see it yourself. There's so many people coming together for so many different causes at the same time, but it all is surrounded around empowering the people, you know what I'm saying, and trying to figure out how to help one another and get the overall message across there. We have to protect ourselves, and we have to be aware of what's going on with the social injustice and what's going on in our government. And I also got to watch Tamika Mallory speak downstairs in my zone, and Raheem Devon as well, and it was amazing. It was amazing.
Good. So for those of you that don't know or not familiar with the Congressional Black Caucus, there are congressional leaders from all over the country that come and converge in DC every September, and they talk about issues affecting the Black community. And more over the years, this conference has evolved a lot more, and you get a lot more celebrities to come and a lot more people that have the interest of Black people, in their heart, and they come to support. You have a lot of vendors, you have a lot of brand marketers and agents that come because they recognize the power of this conference. So for me, I've been coming to the CBC for years now, and I'm really happy to see how much it's grown. I'm happy to see voices that you wouldn't expect come. I think also on the panel just now there was T.I. and David Banner, who's also from Mississippi like you. And so I think that that's important because I think, as a culture, it's important for, hip hop, young folks to see that, it's not just the congressional leaders that are concerned about issues affecting Black folks. It's affects all of us. So, allies as well. So now, speaking of David Banner, he's from Mississippi just like you are. How does it feel to be, involved in a passion, that he shares, and that's something being from the same area and being able to experience the same passion? Tell me a little about that.
Banner's been a big inspiration to me for years. Before this, but just musically and being able to see him, really grind and go from, Jackson, Mississippi, and make a name for himself and still stay himself. And among all that, still be very active in the community. And to see him at this point, it just reminds me how music is this, but we still have to get out here and engage with people, talk to people about what's going on in society. He's so powerful, and for me, it's like, okay, I have to start to understand how to articulate myself, how to get out here and talk without an instrumental behind it. And the way that he, really just finds these problems that are going on and really try to figure out a way to fix them and get with the Congress people and get with the people in the communities. I'm definitely inspired by it, and I look at him in awesome times because I know how hard it is to just put yourself out there. You don't know what may happen, but it's for a good cause. And so I appreciate what he's doing, and I look up to him great.
So race is at the center of the national dialogue. You being from Mississippi, which people refer to as the Jim Crow South. This slant that we're seeing with race being propelled to the center of everything in our nation right now may not be so new to someone living in that southern region of the United States. Tell me how race relations has shaped your view of the world growing up in the South, and some of the parallels that you see with some of the things you saw growing up and what you see now going on nationally.
Well, I would say first off with policing neighborhoods. Where I'm from, the police normally either lived in that neighborhood or a cousin of somebody lived in that neighborhood. They weren't so eager to shoot you. They weren't scared of the neighborhood because they knew the surrounding areas. No, they were just from that area. They lived there. It wasn't a fear. They didn't come from the suburbs and then work there. Your grandmother probably raised them along with their grandmother in the neighborhood. So it was this camaraderie. It was a community. So they didn't want to see you go to jail. The person you need to stop doing what you're doing. You just have to go. You don't need to be hanging out here. And that activates the idea, instead of somebody trying to do me bodily harm, this person wants to see me, do better for myself. On top of that, where I'm from, if somebody doesn't like you, you know it. And I learned that early on. And it's really easy for people to pretend that they don't like you, right? I mean, go on along with it, and lo and behold, they really weren't rocking with you based off your skin and on what you believed in. Where I'm from is right there in your face. And so that's why, and that's what I'm thinking about the South, is people were very honest about how they felt about you. And it built up, for me, more of a strength, if anything, when I see somebody that doesn't respect me, understand me. It doesn't put me down, it doesn't make me put my head to the ground. It empowers me more or less, because I know they're fearful of something that they don't understand. And so even with the Confederate flag situation, what we've been seeing with the statues, it's almost like some people in the South have been waiting for this to take place, because we've already been, we've already felt what disrespect that comes from and what that means and why people still embracing it. But now everybody's starting to see, like, this is not suitable, this is not okay, and this flag, this flying, does not represent you in any kind of way, and that history is not a positive history. And so people are tired of it. So it's an amazing experience to be alive, to see this, knowing that my grandmother couldn't see it, but then taught me, like, that ain't really for you, baby. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's definitely a changing moment right now.
So what made you want to get involved socially, politically, in terms of the political climate now, the social climate now, as far as things that are, all of the injustices that are happening to our community? What makes it now where you're like, I want to be out there on the front lines?
Well, I've always been as active as I could. Music was one of the things that got me out of where I'm from, and I realized I had a voice there. And music was something that I saw that could shift the tide and help people along their way without you physically having to be there. But there was a moment not too long ago in my career where I felt like music was doing nothing. Not only was it so much music that it was overwhelming, the content that was totally opposite of the positive information, but then all the positive information that was in music was getting muffled, right? It wasn't cutting through, and I just got into a depression where I just needed to talk. I needed to talk this problem through, and a lot of people that I would come in contact with just wanted to talk. A lot of the musicians just wanted to talk. Like, it's like the songs, the music isn't what it is anymore. And so at that point I realized where it can't just be me in the studio. It can't just be me making a song and then feeling like I left it all out there. Now I have to actually get in front of people and shake hands with people and engage with them about how I feel, because just like they get scared, I get scared. Just like they're confused about certain election things, I'm confused about them. And let's talk this through so perhaps we can strengthen each other. And so that's why it's so important for me now to be out and about. Not to get on the panel and talk, or not to rap, but to sit there and listen to these people that are, have more information than me talk, so I can take this home and I can breathe a little easier. I can figure out what I need to be doing in my life to also engage with others.
So it's really interesting, and thank you for being so candid about, how you felt in terms of like the music and all that, and because so many people look up to you. I mean, you were like one of the top freshmen in 2010, along with Meek and Kendrick. And
yeah, 2011. I don't want to say 2010 because that was in, but 2011. Nah, but yeah, you're right.
But I mean, so my point is that, like, this big influencer in music, up and coming from then to now, and so many people look to some of the music that you put out, and tell me how you can deal with the critics that like try to keep you in a box. Like, he shouldn't be speaking about that. He's a rapper. Even though we are, as people, we're multifaceted. We can do more than one thing at a time, and we can have different interests and concerns. So tell me, how do you respond to like being able to work outside of your box of being a artist?
Well, I kept my creative control, first off. It's very important that I create the content. Well, I'm independent now, but most of my music in the beginning was totally put out by me.
Right.
I did sign to a label at one point, but I still kept my creative control. That may have been what caused such friction with me in the label, but it was important that I represented the South in a certain way, that I was representing the way and the content that I put out. But at the same time, it's one of those things where you have to be realistic with yourself, and that people take this music literally sometimes. And so you may be building up this superhero character, but there's some young man, some young woman that believes everything you're saying, and they might take it so to heart that they're going to try to emulate that in their own personal life. And that could totally destroy their life while you benefit off of it. And you have to tell both sides of the spectrum. You have to be honest with people about the music you're creating and why you're creating it, and then deal with the repercussions of the situation. And that's me realizing that helped me create music. It made it easier for me to be independent. It made it easier for people to listen to my content, because once I got on radio, I was the same person that was in the songs. Once they met me, I was the same person that was in the songs. It wasn't a disconnect. I wasn't hiding from my content. And even now, I'm independent. It's way easier to create because I know I'm speaking from who I am and not from some label told me what I should talk about.
Right. Interesting.
Sorry, that's long.
Oh, no. So tell me, how do you vision using your platform to speak out about social injustices or just getting more politically involved and aware? Like, you have a huge following. What do you envision using your platform to do
this is
affect change?
This is just the beginning. I mean, being able to, for the people that didn't know about this, be able to expose them to this. And then go from there. I think I can't just focus on one topic because there's so many things wrong with the world. I mean, we obviously, do our best to try to save it, but you can't as one person, but you can at least have an idea. You can push it forward and having those conversations, talking with people, and then me doing my research because as a person that's still trying to figure out my own personal life and things that bother me and the things that I have to deal with emotionally, I have to do the research. So when I go out here and talk to people, I'm not giving them false, hope. I'm not giving them bad information. Because when they listen to the music, now music is like CNN to like kids. So if you don't have the facts right, you're steering them down the wrong path anyway. And so for me, it's just doing the research, learning from people that have been doing this way longer than me, and then finding where I can fit in and help out as much as I possibly can.
So speaking, to the music element and some of your influences being David Banner and Outkast and, some of the messages, and so some of the messaging in their music over time, very transcendent. Like, I guess that has to be pretty inspirational in terms of you not being afraid to go ahead and put out some messaging that corresponds with the social injustices that we're seeing in, in the nation today. Like, tell me a little bit about how the influences of those artists affects how you want to steer your musical career and your political footprint going forward.
I mean, if you ask me, they risk their career to give out a message and change the narrative of what people may have thought about them. So if they weren't fearful to do that and they went out there, then for me, I have to also, think about that and make those kind of steps as well, and not be so worried about what people are going to say when I try to actually shine light on something that is negative and hurting the community, but just do it. These kinds of things and the fear of being successful or maintaining your financial freedom can keep you from doing the right thing sometimes. And I never wanted to be that kind of artist or that person that allowed a chick to keep me from saying something right. All right, and so that's why my career has been on the trajectory that it's been on. That's why I haven't took so many deals or did these kinds of records, and because at some point it didn't sit well with me. It wasn't a part of who I was, and I knew the older I got, people would still judge me off that kind of situation. So I've seen what a Banner and T.I. can do based off the content that they first dropped to growing up in their music and growing with their fan base and dropping music now that is socially conscious, and I know that I'm capable of that as an artist. And all I gotta do is just step out and do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I really applaud, your effort to be independent and,
Yes,
stay true to, your focus. And I hear, often in our culture, we hear them say, trust the process.
Yeah.
And I think that, speaks a lot to that saying, because, you're trusting the process to be unafraid to risk your career by staying true to your personal passions.
Right.
So is there one particular or a couple social issues that you particularly want to focus on, or, since you're, new to the landscape,
Yes, ma'am.
in terms of getting involved in some of the social justice movements, is there anything specifically that is on your mind or close to your heart that you want to lend your voice behind, getting behind, learning more about it and trying to...
Definitely 13th Amendment and criminal justice, right? A lot of the wheel that they have a lot of people on when a small thing happens and then the rest of your life is dictated off that one situation. And then knowing the environments that we had no control over being put in and really trying to have an understanding and a breakdown of that. So even looking back on some of the things that I was educated on, and trying to rework those ideas and aspects for myself and even the content that I used to put out, right? There's a lot of things that I was influenced by and a lot of unrealistic and just, how can I put this? just views or the perspectives of a black man or what's popular in pop culture of what a black man is and a gangster and all that stuff, and kind of reworking these ideas, right? Because I think they're affecting people more now, and I think when we were doing the music and it was exciting, we didn't realize how much and how far it would go to the youth, and how early they would hear it, and how they would take it, and what it would do to them. Now I think we're starting to understand that and want to rework these ideas that Hollywood sent out there in movies and stuff like that, because it has been detrimental to a lot of our not only success but mental capacity of the value of life. And it's a lot again, and I'm new to this situation, but I'm definitely eager to learn and eager to put my best foot forward and do what I can. So.
Right. Well, you know, to that point, with the magnification of social media, messages tend to spiral like in seconds.
Yeah.
So with that influence and being able to use your voice to, you know, correct some of the stereotypes or misinformation that, you know, you yourself had heard over the times, it's like, you know, this is a great opportunity for you to be able to get out, you know, control the messaging the way you want and get it out to your followers or just the public, period, so they can see what's out there. And, you know, I say, you know, welcome to,
Thank you,
you know, this movement. We appreciate it. I mean, you know, we need voices that can speak to the culture that, you know, we have a lot of young, ambitious folks that want to get involved that don't know how to. But by you just being here, you know, showing an interest, it'll make other people say, well, what's the CBC? Maybe I should go next time, you know, and knowing that it's turning into like an event that, you know, hip hop culture is represented at and they want to be at. So, you know, we're really appreciative of that, and, you know, continuing with your journey into this process. So, do you want to tell us about any projects you're working on, or?
I mean, yeah, the album is coming very soon, but I think I'm one of those people where I came here to learn, and it's not really about that at this very moment. But yeah, the album's coming soon. I'm comfortable with that, you know what I'm saying?
Well, we're really happy that you're here and taking an interest, and, you know, we hope to see you out there, you know, on the front line.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.